What's up guys, YGO Strats, coming at you with an Infernoid side decking guide. So these are just going to be cards that you can / will want to / whatever side against Infernoids. A lot of options here depending on what you have access to, don't have access to, can afford, can't afford, whatever the reasoning is. All that there laid out for you. So these are just some staple cards to side against Infernoids. Obviously they're popular at the time of this video because they had recently won a YCS Dallas with a 16-0 win streak that didn't lose a single match. Very impressive. So as of right now, they're probably taking over Dueling Network and YGO and DevPro and all that nonsense by storm, and you might be seeing them pop up at your locals, especially with the Megatin reprints, you never know. So here's a few cards you can side against them if you are going to be playing them a lot. I will start by saying that in my previous version of this video I said Soul Drain will work on them. Soul Drain will not work on them because Infernoids are inherent summons, and so the banishing of monsters is a condition and not an effect, meaning that they can activate their summoning condition. They can banish the monsters from the grave even if Soul Drain is on board because it's not an effect, it is a condition. And so because we were wrong, that obviously means scissors. So without any further ado, Infernoids are pretty simple to side against in a sense. They're all inherent special summons, which means that their summoning doesn't start a chain and they're all special, which means if you stop special summons, you quote-unquote stop the deck. So obviously Vanity's Emptiness is a fantastic side deck card if you're not maining it. If you're looking for Vanity's Emptiness on legs, Fossil Dyna is great. If they attack into it after you set it, you'll blow up all their monsters anyway. It's pretty handy. And because they do a lot of their special summoning from the graveyard, since they love to mill with cards like Reasoning and Lightsworn monsters and all that nonsense, something like Royal Prison will stop them from special summoning from the graveyard. So they'll still be able to get monsters out from the hand, but less fragile than Vanities or Fossil Dyna, because Fossil Dyna only has 1300 defense. And since this only stops from the graveyard, depending on what you're playing, you might be fine off anyways. So just things to think about when it comes to stopping their special summoning. Other things to note, their special summoning, actually I guess I will say this, because they're inherent, if you're going to use Vanities to stop their special summon, you're going to have to activate it like at the start of main phase 1. You can't wait for them to banish monsters to special summon it, because you'd be interrupting the resolution of an effect. You can't activate it until it's like resolved, it's mid-action, so to say. So if you're going to use Vanities against them and you know they're playing Infernoids, you have to do it like main phase 1 before they do anything. Like at the end of standby phase, flip Vanities, and then they can't special summon, because if you don't flip Vanities right away, they can get one special summon off, and then you can try and flip Vanities, but they'll still have a monster on board. Very important to note, just in case you don't know. The other big thing I was about to say before I made sure I got that in, their monsters are very dependent on banishing from the grave to the banish zone. So the interesting thing about siding for Infernoids is if you need to have things not get banished, you can easily side for them, or if you have no problem and enjoy having other things banished, you can easily side for them, because they need to have access to both the graveyard and the banish zone to get their monsters out. So if you stop them from banishing with something like Imperial Iron Wall, they won't be able to summon their monsters. And if you stop them from getting things in the graveyard with Macro Cosmos or something that banishes, you will be stopping them from being able to summon at all, because all the monsters will go straight to the banish zone, and so they can't summon them. So it's interesting, these are the two most common and most basic yada yada staple floodgate quote unquote cards that will stop them from being able to play their deck, because they need to have both. Banishing or stopping banishing will not work for them. A few alternatives, if you're looking to stop them from banishing because you don't want to have to run Macro Cosmos in like your Mermail or your Shadow or something, Artifact Lancia is another alternative. You just pitch it at the beginning of the turn and you can't banish for the rest of the turn. Your opponent can't banish for the rest of the turn, I guess I should say, is what's important there. So if you're looking for a one turn stop and then push for an OTK, or just, you know, you don't want to have to run Imperial Iron Wall and run into the Mystical Space Typhoons or anything like that, or they do run Lila, so obviously all your floodgate cards are susceptible to that. Lancia isn't a good alternative to stopping that, or Chaos Hunter. It's level 7, when they special summon a monster, you can discard a card and special summon Chaos Hunter, and then your opponent can't banish cards. So you'll special a 25 beat stick, and then they won't be able to banish anything. The problem with Chaos Hunter could be that if they have an Infernoid out with, you know, more than 2500 attack, or if they have, you know, Harmadic or Antra, they can just pop or bounce Chaos Hunter and then continue to do their shenanigans, but it is good for stopping, you know, explosive plays if they pulled out like a can't remember the name, is it Rouletta or something? They have a level 4 that pops back row. If they special summon that and then you drop this, they'll probably have a hard time with it. And then, so that's pretty much all there is for stopping the banishing of effects. One of these three is probably your best option. For banishing everything, Dimensional Fissure is obviously a good option. It only banishes monsters, so their spell and trap aren't safe, yada yada. Macro on legs is Banish with Radiance, a little fragile, 1600, but you never know. Other good cards for Infernoids, Retaliating Sea recently came out, and Clash of Rebellions, it's fantastic against them. When they activate a spell card that would special summon a monster, you special summon to the other side of the field, and every card sent to the grave is banished instead. This is potentially devastating against Infernoid decks, because if they activate Reasoning, you can chain Retaliating Sea, special summon it, I believe, to their side of the field, and then they'll mill all these cards, and all those cards will be banished. They won't go to the graveyard like they want them to. So if they don't get, like, 25 of their cards get banished before they can hit the Lila or the Raiden or whatever, it can be devastating because there's no real comeback. They lost too many resources, yada yada yada. So this can be game winning against Infernoid. It obviously is not always. It is as dependent on their luck as is itself. Like, Reasoning is only as good as it mills, and this is only as good as they mill. So, and then finally, something you might want to consider, just because it had reprints and it might be a little cheaper now, change its appearance. When a monster with 1,000 less attack is summoned, you can banish it and then every copy of it in the deck. So if they open up by summoning Decatron, or they 1-for-1 into Decatron or something involving getting Decatron out on the field, you can change its appearance and then banish it and every copy of it in the deck, and that will really hurt them. Decatron is like the bread and butter of the deck. It gets anything they need to done. It tutors all their monsters and all the monster effects, so it's pretty great. Obviously, it's not the best side deck card for this. If you're looking for the best side decking cards against Infernoid, in my opinion, you're either going to be playing Imperial Iron Wall or Macro, depending on what you're playing. And then Retaliating Sea and Vanities are your top 4. And then, like I said, replace them with something if you feel it's better for you. You know, Lancia in place of Imperial Iron Wall or whatever. So there you go. That is our look at side decking guide for Infernoid, just in case you wanted any list of cards to go forward. If you want to see another side deck video, something else, a guide to how to decide against Mermail or something that may be a little less common or whatever, and you, for whatever reason, can't find it online, go ahead, leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on YGO Strats.